Welcome to this Arnall-Culliford knitwear tutorial on avoiding ladders when you're working on double pointed needles, or DPNs. This video is part of our series of little lessons filmed in one take during lockdown. I'm working on a plain vanilla sock here using the Dave pattern by Rachel Coopey, and I'm using some beautiful self-striping sock yarn from Fab Funky Fibres in the Tiger King colourway. I've got two top tips for you to help you avoid having ladders form in your knitting when you use double pointed needles, one in this video and one in the next video. So what do I mean by ladders? It's a very common problem that knitters have when working on double pointed needles, is that when they move from one needle to the next needle, they get something that appears like a bit of a ladder down their knitting, where the stitch worked on the new needle isn't quite snug with the stitch on the previous needle, and over time that problem stacks up one on top of the other and makes a fairly obvious ladder or unevenness in your knitting. Obviously my sock does not have this problem, and I'm going to show you what I do to avoid it. I've finished working on this needle and I'm going to start working on the next, and the first thing to show you is how I arrange my needles when I move from one to the next. So I arrange the three needles perpendicular to each other. So the empty needle is going straight up and down, and then the needle with the stitches I've just worked and the needle with the stitches I'm about to work make a cross. And in doing so, I end up with a nice snug join between the old needle and the new one. And once I've done that, I knit the second stitch, and this is where you want to give a little tug. It's that first stitch that is loose that causes the problem, but if you try to tighten that first stitch, as soon as you go to work the second stitch, any tugging that you've done will go away again. It'll just be loosened back out. So the trick is to give that little tug on the second stitch, and the friction between the yarn and the needles and everything just holds everything in place much better if you do it that way. And then once you've worked that second stitch, you can just continue along your row. And for many people, just arranging your needles perpendicular to each other when you pass from one to the next, along with that tug on the second stitch, will get rid of any problem for you. If you find that doesn't solve your problem, then do skip over to our next video and I'll give you another tip on how to avoid ladders when working with double pointed needles. I hope you found that tip helpful. If you'd like to find out more about any of our techniques, books, and the beautiful patterns that you'll find inside them, then there's a link up in this top corner of the screen that will take you over to our website. Every purchase from our website helps support us in creating more video tutorials for you, so thank you very much for your support. There's also a circle down in the bottom right hand corner which allows you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you'll be sure to know when we put out our next video. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye bye.